So tell us a little bit about what they are quietly doing behind the scenes to hedge their bets if this key provision, which basically mandates that all Americans buy healthcare insurance, gets struck down by the Supreme Court.
Well, quietly is really the important word here, because both the insurance industry and the administration, in fact all supporters of the law, maintain that they're very confident that it will stand, that the Supreme Court will uphold it. Now that puts them in a bit of a difficult position, because while the administration is maintaining that it's confident, there's no problem, that they're not doing any contingency planning whatsoever around the possibility that the case doesn't go their way, the insurance industry isn't quite so happy to rely on that sort of hopeful best case scenario thinking. In fact, it's the insurance industry, so the thing that they do is they like to plan for the worst case scenario.
Right.
For them, the worst case scenario would be a situation in which, while the individual mandate, the requirement to buy insurance or pay a fee, goes, they're stuck with the other parts of the package of the law. If you remember, it was a very big bill that required them to basically cover everybody. They don't want to do that if they haven't got the guaranteed mark of everybody, and so the worst case scenario would be having one without the other.
And because at that point, one would imagine that premiums would skyrocket. Am I right about that?
Right. Their concern is that people would be in a position where essentially they could buy insurance when they knew that they were sick. And of course, that's not a good bet for the insurer. And so they would have to try and find some other way, some way that would be constitutional if the court had struck down the mandate, of getting people to purchase insurance voluntarily. And they've got a range of options on the table for doing that. They're starting to actually come to some agreement about what the best path forward would be. It would be a combination of encouraging people very strongly to purchase insurance voluntarily, and also sanctioning them if they didn't. So that would also be an incentive.
And let's delve into a little bit more on that in just a second. But just where things stand right now, I think the Supreme Court is scheduled to start weighing the issue around March 26 or so. So far, 2 appeals courts have ruled in favor of the mandate. One struck it down but said that the rest of the overhaul should stand. So things are a little unclear as to where they're going to go. Now, in terms of the other options you were just describing, one would be, again, you were saying sort of sanctioning people, penalizing them in some way, maybe not giving them some of the perks under the law, but not actually requiring them to pay a fee. Is that right?
Right. Well, the way that the law currently works is that there are some limits on the practices that insurance companies can engage in. They have to cover everybody, regardless of their medical history, after 2014. There's also some restrictions on how much they can discriminate based on age between clients. What they would want to do if the individual mandate were struck down would be to get those provisions struck as well. And from there, they could start doing things like offering much lower premiums to younger and healthier people in the hopes that they would sign up voluntarily. They would also probably try to penalize people who didn't sign up voluntarily by, for example, denying them treatment for a specific condition within a certain period of having purchased the policy. They say that that would be specifically designed to target the people who sign up when they have more information than the insurer does about their health status, and it's not particularly positive for the insurer.
And critics of this portion of the healthcare law, I mean, the heart of their argument, if I understand it correctly, Louise, is basically that we as Americans shouldn't be required to buy anything, that this is a contract and the government shouldn't be able to force anyone to enter into a contract of this sort. Is that correct?
That's their argument, exactly. They say it's unprecedented and the federal government can do this. There's no limit to the number of things that they can do. On the other side, what the federal government and their supporters are arguing is that without the mandate, people can't have any of the other parts of the law that they like, especially the bits that relate to the insurance market.
And Louise, very quickly, how difficult would it be to get lawmakers to take any action on this in the midst of an election year?
There's not anybody who thinks that it's likely that Congress would take this up in 2012.